All right, everybody. Welcome to the Contextual Christian Church Bible Study, where today we're going to read Isaiah chapter 27, verse 7 to chapter 28, verse 8. I'm going to pray it in. Everybody, bow your heads. Father, thank you for getting us on this Bible study today, as we're going to get into some more context with what we're getting into with Isaiah. I pray that we're getting into something of another prophetic another prophecy that we can tie into the revelation, something I can add to my notes. um, if not, I pray to still a good Bible study in Jesus name, amen.
Amen. All right, so last time we were continuing on and finished up chapter 26. And we continued on, whereas it pointed out about how those that were wicked, they're not going to see it coming, this destruction. But they're definitely going to know it's here because they're going to see all the people who are saved be perfectly fine as they basically get marched down to their deaths, which is crazy. But then we really went into from that point on throughout chapter 26 about describing how God is the one true authority and how they've been dealing with all these pain and all this trouble and chastening and all this stuff because of their behavior, but God is the one that they really should have been following. And pointed out how even those in authority on earth, even like false authorities, whether kings, whether false religions, it doesn't matter, how they're dead, pointing out that they're not even worth mentioning in God's presence. Then we got to the last part where we finished up chapter 26 and we got into chapter 27. And in 27, we got into this where we saw the comparison between this and in Revelation when the Lamb destroys the serpent, meaning Satan. And how it uses the example of the Leviathan here in chapter 27 about that destruction. And then it also brings up about the vine and the children of Israel and Jesus, as it literally points out about in verse 27, verse 6, he shall cause them to come of Jacob to take root. So bringing them back to bring that root. As we know, it's Jesus that ends up doing that in the Revelation and not just in Revelation when they do it at the end of the world, but even in the New Testament for those that come back to him. And so that's the part that we saw. So again, 27 was continuing a prophecy as we saw in chapter 26, not about the same exact details, but about the same exact timeline. Not just the last days, but the last of the last days, right before everything is destroyed. I should say around the time when everything is being destroyed. So now we'll continue from there as I switch it to our first section so our first reader can read. And go ahead, Charles, when you're ready.
I'll be reading Isaiah chapter 27, verses 7 to 11. Give it a couple seconds. Verse 7. Hath he smitten him as he smote those that smote him? Or is he slain according to the slaughter of them that are slain by him? In measure, when it shooteth forth, thou wilt debate with it. He stayeth his rough wind in the day of the east wind. By this, therefore, shall the iniquity of Jacob be purged, and this is all the fruit to take away his sin. When he maketh all the stones of the altar as chalk stones that are beaten in sunder, the grooves and images should not stand up. Yet the defenced city shall be desolate, and the habitation forsaken, and left like a wilderness. There shall the calf feed, and there shall he lie down, and consume the branches thereof. Boughs or bowls, I keep forgetting. Hello?
It would help if I'm unmuted. Bows.
Oh, okay. Boughs. When the boughs thereof are withered, they shall be broken off. The woman come and set them on fire. For it is a people of no understanding. Therefore, he that made them will not have mercy on them, and he that formed them will show them no favor. First, first off, did I read seven right?
Nope.
Got it. That's what's already throwing me off from the because
Yes, it is.
I automatically jumped to sarcasm. I tried to do sarcasm. Let me say that. I tried to do sarcasm in this.
But you kind of didn't do a good job on it this time. Like this is not really sarcastic in the essence. It's more like remember I said before there's a difference between asking a question to really ask versus asking a question to prove a point.
To prove a point. Yep.
There's really like, let me explain it further. There are 4 levels or 5 levels to the impact of questions and how they're asked. You got sarcastic, where you're asking a question, but you don't even care for the answer. You're really just trying to talk smack. You got rhetorical, where you're posing a question to provoke a thought or to explain something. Then you got asking a question not to hear yourself talk, but to make the listener hear you. So, like, for example, the difference between the second and the third. Is Charles really the type of person to lie about a female and whether or not she's been faithful? If I'm talking to somebody, I don't really want them to answer that question. I know the answer. I'm trying to get them to come down to the same conclusion. So I'm asking it, basically pointing out that it's so simple. Asking that question should make you realize it. Then that situation where you're by yourself and you do the same thing. Is Charles really the type to do this? Now I'm asking the question not for somebody to answer, but to help myself to clarify. And that's the difference between the two. One is you're trying to provoke a thought of somebody else. The other is to verbally hear it for yourself, because sometimes things are easier to understand if you're hearing it out loud rather than just in your mind. Helps with organization. The fourth form of asking questions is like I'm asking a question, but it's not sarcasm. It's more like unbelief. I'm asking a question to show my unbelief. Are you really about to do this? That would be an example of that. And the fifth one is asking a question because you actually want an answer. So you got for sarcasm is the first. You got for self-reflection is the second. You got to provoke a thought in somebody else is the third. You got to show your shock or express your emotion is the fourth. And actually wanting an answer is the fifth. Does that make sense, Charles?
Writing it down. Could you repeat it one more time though with the five?
Yeah. There's 5 ways that people use questions. If somebody ever tries to tell you I'm just asking questions, they're full of crap. There are 5 ways that people use questions. The first is sarcastically, just talking smack. The second is to organize their thoughts. I'll say it like that. The
Organize your
third,
thoughts.
yep. And you could put in parentheses if you want. Sometimes we understand things easier if we hear them out loud. The third is to try to provoke an answer. I mean, not an answer, to try to provoke a thought out of somebody else.
Provoke a thought out of somebody else.
Yeah. Like, for example, if I was to ask you this question, is it really that sinful to smack a woman? Now, if I were to say that, I'm not actually asking that. I'm saying through the form of a question that I, in this example, believe it is. And I think you should believe the same. That's the purpose of that question there. Unless you're being
You do
playful, but that would be, you see what I'm saying? If
you do
I'm
that a lot
seriously telling you.
with the Christmas thing. When Christians celebrate Christmas, you use the same example with that too. Should we
Yeah,
really be
exactly.
celebrating Christmas?
Should we really be celebrating Christmas? Yeah, when I ask that, I'm not actually wanting a yes or no answer. I'm telling you, yeah, obviously not. So the third one is I'm trying to provoke a thought in somebody else. The fourth way we use questions, as I said, so we got the sarcasm, self-reflection, provoking a thought, expression of emotions. If I'm trying to express myself in the form of a question. An example, no, would be a good one for that. Can you really believe that Jasmine was willing to steal from me? You see what I'm saying?
Was trying to steal from me. I see what you're saying.
Yeah. Like when I ask that question, I'm not actually asking a question. I'm actually expressing my frustration from the situation.
Hmm.
Or if
Parents do
something
it when
is
they
surprising.
parents do it when they talk to other parents about their kids. You really believe little Charlie did boom 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 boom? What he did? What?
Yeah. Well, there's actually
Yeah.
worse than that. I said I had this happen when Tremaine was living here. What I had happen was he put his password into my laptop.
I remember that.
And
Yeah.
I'm gonna quote myself and I'm gonna show you guys the exact attitude I had when I posed this question. What in your thought process, what on this earth, what would make you think that this is okay? I'm not actually asking a question when I say that. I'm expressing how angry I am that you thought you could do that or you did it without thinking. So the fourth version of like how people use questions, you're trying to express your emotions, usually negative emotions, but you could be positive too. Can you believe that Jessica's gonna be the president now? It can be positive too. She's using to express the emotion. And then
I
the
got
last
you.
one is actually wanting like actually wanting an answer. Now in this one, hath he smitten him? Well, What was in verse 6?
I'm just finished writing down number 5.
Mm-hmm.
Number 6 was when you brought up in the summary of he shall cause them to come of Jacob to take root, Jesus being the he.
Exactly. So hath he smitten him as he smote those that smote him? Or is he slain according to the slaughter of them that are slain by him? So what type of question is this out of the 5?
Let me think about it so I don't guess.
What was 5?
You said what?
What was 5?
What do you mean? Oh, the 5th use of a question to
Yes.
actually ask.
Okay, thanks.
Like you actually want an answer. That's why when people say, well, I'm just asking questions, like Thomas, you've been through it. Charles, you've been through it, where you're having a conversation, somebody asks a question, and you know dang well they're not really trying to have a conversation. They're just trying to say it to be the snarky, have an attitude of sarcasm or whatever. And you're like, well, I'm just asking questions. No, you're not. You're trying to be a douchebag. Let's be real. We've all been there, right?
Yeah, yeah. I have a particular family member that used to do that. He does it, not even used to. He still does technically, but yeah, I got a family
And
member that
it is
does that.
so frustrating when they use those words. What? I'm just asking questions. No, you're not. Shut up. Anyways.
This has to, because it's not the asking to get an answer. You're not doing that.
Mhm.
Um, I'm not taking it as expressing out an emotion, and I'm also not taking it as trying to provoke a thought out of, trying to provoke a thought out. This has to be sarcasm. I wish I read it right though, because I automatically jumped to sarcasm, and it still feels like sarcasm. I'm still
I
reading it as
wouldn't say
sarcasm.
sarcasm. You know why you shouldn't think it's sarcasm? Let's go back to the first 5 verses. This is where the context surrounding will help you. I'm gonna put them back on the screen from last time.
Got it.
All right, look at verse 1. In that day, the Lord with his sword, great and strong sword, shall punish Leviathan, the piercing serpent, even Leviathan, the crooked serpent, and he shall slay the dragon that is in the sea. Continuing on to 20, I keep saying 20, to verse 2. In that day, sing ye unto her a vineyard of wine. I, the Lord, do keep it. I will water it every moment. As we're reading this, does any of this sound like it's leading towards anger or sarcasm, or does it sound more like it's just stating situations or things that happen?
Stating things that happen.
Exactly. So if we're just stating things that happen and we continue to 5 and 6, or let him take hold of my strength, that he may make peace with me and shall make peace with me. He shall cause them that come of Jacob to take root. Israel shall blossom and bud and fill the face of the world with fruit. Has it started to get sarcastic at all either?
No, we're still pointing out details. We're not leading into an emotion.
Exactly. So
Well,
since
no, it's
there's
not
just,
details. I'm sorry. Things to happen, not
yeah,
leading to an emotion.
oh, you could say details. I mean, things that happen are
Okay.
details, right?
Right.
So we continue that on and think about 6. He shall cause them that come of Jacob to take root. Israel shall blossom and bud and fill the face of the world with fruit. And then we get into today's first section. Hath he smitten him? See, if I read that sarcastically, I have to ignore everything that we read before. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Because that's how
Because
I started it off. That's exactly how I started it off.
exactly, that's why you were slipping up. You didn't take the previous verses into account, even after I said from the summary. When you take the previous verses into account, we see what happens.
Let me get sarcasm out of my head.
Hath he smitten him as he smote those that smote him? Now, obviously, we know the he still talking about Christ, right? Who would
Right.
the him be then that?
Hath he smitten him?
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't the him go back to the Leviathan, the crooked serpent? Because that's the blood
No.
of the Lamb is the one that's going to get rid of him.
Mm-mm. You went too far back, Charles. What happened in 6?
He shall cause them that come of Jacob. Write this down. So the him, since I point far back, he shall cause them that come of Jacob. The him has to be of them that come from Jacob.
Exactly. The him is the children of Israel. Hath he
Write that
smitten
down.
him as he smote those that smote him? So is Jesus, in other words, has he smitten the people of Israel in the same way as the ones that smote Jesus? Or is he slain according to the slaughter of them that are slain by him? Is he killed in the same way that he's killed others? So, what am I pointing out by saying that? That's what should have let you know. We know what type of question it is by looking at what 6 is, which gives us who the him is. He being Christ, him being the children of Israel that are faithful. Has he smoten the faithful ones, in other words, as he smote those that smote him? Well, who smote him? The unfaithful ones. Or is he slain in the same slaughter, in the same way as them that are slain by him? Well, this is easily answered when we think back to the time when we read about Christ and his crucifixion. And then we look at the way Jesus deals and God deals with the ones that were faithful to him. And then we could see this as well. Who is the one that's being smitten in verse 7? Is it just one person or one group? In this question, I should say, not who's actually being. In the question, who is the question being raised about whether they've been smitten, Charles?
Wouldn't we have to talk about the children of Israel when we're asking that question?
Well, yeah, but not
As
as,
he
I mean,
smoked.
it's got to be more specific than that.
Unfaithful.
Is it just one person or one group, I
No,
should say?
no. One group. It's a group. A group. Sorry.
It's one group? No,
No, it
Charles,
ain't
it's
one
not
group.
one
No, it
group.
ain't one
There's
group.
two groups. I just said the two groups. There's the faithful and the unfaithful. So the question is, has he smitten him, as we just brought up from 6, the faithful ones of God, as he smote those that smote him? Does that make sense, Charles?
Well, I was about to say we know the answer is no to that based off of what we talked about with and what we read about with Jesus.
No, no,
The
no, no, no,
unfaithful
no.
ones are the ones
You're
that.
going into details that are irrelevant to the. We're trying to understand what it says, not trying to answer the question. But you just did what the question's trying to do. You see? It's provoking a thought. That's the type of question that's being used here. It's being used to make you think about a certain way. And what is the distinction that's being shown in 7? There's a certain concept. Let me give Thomas a chance first.
Got it.
Thomas, what is the concept that is shown in the first question of verse 7?
Um, the faithful not doing what the unfaithful does.
Nope. The faithful not getting the same treatment as the unfaithful does.
Oh, okay.
Hath he smitten him? Remember who the he is, Thomas. Who's the he?
Let me, Jesus, let me write that down. Say that one more time. The faithful now what?
You said what?
So he is Jesus, but could you re-say what you said previously? The faithful not getting what?
Oh, the concept shown in verse 7 in the first question is not treating the enemies as the friends. In other words, the faithful being treated differently than the unfaithful.
Thanks.
Mm-hmm.
Did you get my answer, by the way?
Your answer.
Yeah, you asked who was he. I said Jesus.
Oh, no, I didn't. Okay, good. I'm glad you said that now. Yeah, he is Jesus. So, and as we said, who's him?
The children of Israel. Then we got two groups.
Exactly. So when he says, hath he smitten him? So has Jesus smitten the faithful of Israel as he, Jesus, as Jesus smote those that smote him? Does that make sense now? Thomas and Charles?
Writing this down
Yeah.
and writing down how this question is provoking the thought. Like you said, how I brought up the answer. It's that's the type of question that we're doing here. A question that's provoking the thought. Writing that down too.
Yep.
Yeah, I need to keep this in mind for my notes just in case there's another question that looks sarcastic, but it's something else. So I got that part.
All right. Now for the second part of that question. Say that part out loud.
Or is he slain? Or is Jesus slain according to the slaughter of them that are slain by him? Bloody pronouns,
So
man.
what's the point being shown there?
Let me reread. Or is Jesus slain according to the slaughter of them being the children of Israel, of them that are slain by him? Why is this tripping me up?
Take each part separate.
I need
Do
to
the
write
first
this
part of the
down also.
question. First question.
Yeah. Oh, do the first question.
No, I said take it in parts. What's the first question?
Hath he smitten him as he smote those that smote him? You mean that part?
Yep. Has he smote them? Who's the he?
He's Jesus.
And smote him.
Him, children of Israel.
We saw that, right? So now go into that next part. Your first part of the next question we asked.
Or is he slain according to the slaughter? So is Jesus
Exactly.
slain
So, yeah.
according to the slaughter of them being the children of Israel that are slain by him?
No. Try that again.
Or is Jesus slain according to the slaughter of
Did it say
the?
him?
It said
It
them.
says the slaughter of them. So are we talking specifically about the children of Israel, though? In that one, then? We have the him in the first part, right? Hath he
Right.
smitten him as he smote those that smote him? Is he getting payback, in other words? Or is he getting that separate treatment? There's two ways to look at that.
Also, I'm getting the them wrong.
Yep. Or is he slain according to the slaughter of them that are slain by him? So who's the him there? Is it still talking about the children of Israel? Who's doing the
Um,
slaying? In
Jesus
7, who's
being
doing the
slain.
slaying? Yeah.
Oh, so yeah, Jesus is being slain by them. Wouldn't them be like the?
No, it's posing a question. Or is he slain according to the slaughter of them that are slain by him? So who's the him there? Is it the same him as the first question? No. You're just carrying on without thinking about the context. Put Jesus' name in there and then read it again.
The second part where it says, "Or is he?
Yep.
Or is Jesus slain according to the slaughter of them that are slain by him?" Yeah,
So
when
who
I
would
put
the
the
him be
Jesus,
there?
the part that's tripping me up is when you add them that are slain by him. That was the part I was gonna write down because it was tripping me up.
All right. Charles, are you killed in the same way as those that you've been killing?
Let me write that down so I can remember that. And you're provoking me to think, and the answer is no.
Exactly.
And give me that example one more time.
Charles, are you going to be killed in the same way as those that have been killed by you?
Are you going to be killed by the same ones you said?
Are you going to be killed in the same way as the ones that have been killed by you? Charles, are you killed in the same way as the ones that are killed by you?
Sorry, writing it down. So it's just provoking the thought again in the second part, which the answer would be no. If you're provoking the thought, you got me thinking about the answer to the question.
Exactly.
Yeah, I got to get used to this whole provoking questions. This one's
It's one of the most used in the Bible. That's something that if you want to study on something and be able to catch easier, that's a good thing to study on.
this particular verse.
No, the provoking questions.
Oh, provoking question. Yeah,
Noticing the difference between the different types of questions.
yeah. Because every time I'm thinking of questions and the way it's set up, I'm always thinking sarcasm, 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 sarcasm.
Exactly.
No, I really need to work on that. So I got that part. Is there any more I need to bring up in verse 7 or
Nope, that's it for 7. Go to the next one.
all right. Verse 8. In measure, when it shooteth forth, thou wilt debate with it. He stayeth his rough wind in the day of the east wind. That's nice. So in measure, when it shooteth forth. I need to go backwards to see what it's talking about when it's talking about in measure, it shooteth forth. Because when we talk about shooting forth, when something's shot forth, don't we talk about roots? Don't we talk about branches? Don't we talk about flowers, like
Exactly.
vegetation,
Reaching
stuff like
out.
that? Reaching out. In measure, when it's shooting forth, like reaching out, thou will debate with it. Let me go to debate. Because I'm thinking debate is the same way we use debate.
Mm-hmm.
A primitive root, properly the toss, that is grapple, mostly figuratively. So before I get to the next part, when you say thou, when this says thou will debate with it, we're de- we're debating what I need to explain, which is when it shoots forth.
Try that again.
In measure, when it shooteth forth, thou will debate. Oh, debate with it, not debate it. Debate with it.
Exactly.
What shoots forth, we're going to debate with it. We just talked about Jacob taking root in Israel. Would that be the thing that shoot forth?
Yeah, but remember the vine being taken care of in verse 2?
The vineyard of red wine.
Exactly. And in verse 3, how God is taking care of it.
When it shooteth forth. Sorry, writing it down for the silence.
You're good.
So debating I need to explain that then. Debating this, what it shoots first, with the vineyard that we're getting it, well, that we already got into.
No. In
Uh,
measure. What does in measure mean?
Let me go to measurement, that is moderation. Let me write that
No.
down. It measure
In
doesn't
measure.
mean like a
No. In measure, when it shoots forth, thou wilt debate with it. Why would that mean moderation? Moderation is a measurement itself, but this is saying measure the measure of it. So, in other words, actually, let me give Thomas a chance.
hmm,
Go ahead, Thomas.
So that's what I was thinking. It says, "In measure, when it shooteth forth, thou will debate with it." So, like he said, moderation. So I'm thinking when a certain amount. How can I put this in words without saying the same thing he's saying? In measure, when it shoots forth, thou will debate with it. Like in increments, to be saying the same thing, right? Moderation.
Yeah, increments and moderation are the same thing. The
Yeah.
problem is you guys are looking at a measure, but you're giving a type of measurement. You're not giving that fact of measuring, period.
What
In
you mean?
measure. So, for example, you will get blessed beyond measure. Does measure mean increments there?
Not in that, no.
Exactly. What does measure mean in that statement?
Just wouldn't that mean like overabundant, like too much? You're gonna have a bunch of stuff going on, like
No, but
like
what that's the end result, that's the summarizing, but what does measure mean in that statement?
I need to put that in words. Blessed above measure. I'm trying to think of a way to put it in words.
Let me give Thomas a chance.
More than you can count, more than you can like.
Yes.
Yeah.
Measure in there means the count or the total or the amount, not an amount specific, but the generalization of an amount. For example, in measure, when Charles sees his mom, joy will spread through his heart. When I see that, I'm saying when Charles sees his mom, he will feel an equal amount of joy will spread through his heart as the level of excitement when he sees his mom. Does that make sense, Charles?
Writing this down.
So, in measure, I'm going to give you guys a different way to say it. In measure is like saying in comparison of amount.
In comparison of amount.
Of amount. Yep. So when it shoots forth, thou wilt debate with it. So in comparison of amount of how much it shoots forth, you will also debate with it. Now we've been talking about that vine, right? But now we're talking about the vine shooting forth, the vine branching out. So just as much as the vine is going to branch out, you're going to debate with it just as much. That's what that means. Does that make sense, Charles and Thomas?
Yes.
Now it does.
Now, do you guys get how it makes sense with that? Not just me telling you what it means.
Let me finish writing this down real quick.
Mm-hmm.
Can I give an example?
Yeah, go ahead, Thomas.
You got a fence. You got a neighbor. His tree is starting to come over your fence into your area. And the more it comes over, the more you're debating with this dude about getting it trimmed. Like, bro, your tree's growing into my yard. Crazy. You need to start trimming it up. The more and more you see it growing over, that's what I was.
Exactly. That's a great
Yeah,
example.
yeah.
That's a great
Thanks for
example
that.
for two reasons.
Thanks for that example. That helps out a lot too.
Yeah.
Yeah, because what happens with the branch of God branching out? It reaches in other areas, right? Might
Mm-hmm.
step on somebody's toes, might be reaching over somebody's yard. That's a great example because it encapsulates the whole thing. That's a good one, Thomas. Good job.
Hey, thank God he gave it to me.
Mm-hmm.
When you explained above measure, the difference between above measure and an in measure, and you gave that example, then Thomas gave the example. Now it does. Now it makes sense.
Okay, cool. All right, then go ahead and continue, Charles.
Now next, he stayeth his rough wind in the day of the east wind. That's pretty. I'm probably overthinking it, but it just sounds like whatever where he's staying, his rough wind is, it's staying in the east, in the day of the east wind. That's me not overthinking it, but I could be wrong. But that's what that just sounds
Say
like. He
that one more
stayeth
time.
his. So I was saying, without overthinking it, he stayeth his rough wind in the day of the east, in the day of the east wind. So his rough wind is staying, like it's staying in the particular day of the east wind. So yeah, that's how do I
So what would
redo
he be
that in what
saying by
words?
saying that? Well, think about it. Why would you bring up another wind and bring up your wind staying?
Wouldn't you bring it up in another words that this wind particular that I'm bringing up is it's gonna stay regardless of this east wind, the day of the east wind? Nothing's gonna shake it, nothing's gonna move it. It's
There
staying
you
in place.
go. You're expressing strength and stability. Exactly.
Got it.
And keep that in mind whenever you see something like this. Whenever you see something where it has an expression like that, where it's talking about something staying, something moving, something related to moving or staying, and it has some comparison to it, the first question you should ask, why bring up the other thing? The other wind, the other power, whatever it is, why bring that up while bringing up my or wind or God's wind? Why bring up the outside, the third party? Because you
Got it.
notice how when I said that question to you, how long did it take for you to figure that out?
Couple seconds.
How long were you taking prior to that?
Too long.
See what I'm saying?
I see what you're
All
saying.
right, go ahead with 9.
Verse 9. By this, therefore, shall the iniquity of Jacob be purged. The iniquity in the sin of Jacob being purged. I have to bring up Jesus in that if we're talking about purging it.
Yeah,
Sorry, I have to bring it now. I have to. I can't just leave it at that. Jesus is sacrifice, purging.
there you go.
Sorry,
There you
sorry.
go.
I needed to add more to that. I got to work on that too. There's if there's more that needs to be added, there's more that I need to add it right in that moment. Jesus' sacrifice is what purges the sin out of Jacob.
Exactly.
It
Good.
completely gets rid of it.
Good.
And this is all the fruit to take a. Can't read either. And this is all the fruit to take away his sin. This is all the fruit to take away his sin.
And this.
Now, oh, and yeah, and this is all the fruit to take away his sin. Didn't I just bring up about his sacrifice?
Yeah.
Yeah, so that just goes back to his
Notice when you add
sacrifice.
the word and, it made a little more sense.
Yeah, yeah.
And this is all the fruit to take away his sin. His being
Dun-dun-dun.
who? Jacob, people of Israel.
Yeah, yeah.
All right, keep going.
When he maketh all the stones of the altar as chalk stones that are beaten in sunder, the groves and images shall not stand up. Isn't that saying with Jesus' sacrifice, purging us of the sin? When you're talking about the altar as chalk stones beaten down asunder, you're destroying. You don't have to do the sacrifices to these altars anymore. Jesus was that sacrifice. We're done away with that stuff. We've already talked about
Have
that
to?
before.
Reread that.
Reread. Okay, so when he maketh all the stones of the altar as chalk stones that are beaten in sunder, the groves and the images shall not stand up. I've already forgot what I just said, but Jesus' sacrifice, purging us from the sins, it makes it when you bring that up, it sounds like it makes it pointless. It makes it useless when you're talking about
Nope.
the stones of the altar as chalk stones beaten down. That sounds like dust. You're beating the altar down to dust, to little pebbles and chiplets.
No. Think about it. Beaten asunder, what does that mean?
Beating asunder. I'm thinking about beating something to break it down into pieces.
Yeah. Yeah, breaking it down. Okay. When he maketh all the stones of the altar as chalk stones that are beaten in sunder. Well, think about chalk stone. What does that sound like?
Chalkstone sounds like a weaker stone than rock, like just something
No,
I
it's
could
literally
break down a
chalk,
little
Charles,
easier.
like chalk.
Okay, so this if it's like chalk, then
If you
all right.
beat chalk asunder, what does it look like?
Yeah, it just look like dust.
There you go. It looks like dust. When he maketh all the stones of the altar as chalk stones that are beaten in sunder, the groves and images shall not stand up. Does that sound like it's saying it's pointless?
No, that just sounds like I'm beating some. I beat something down to dust, and then the thing I beat down, the other images and stuff, won't be able to stand up. They won't be able to live. They just won't be able to.
Exactly. It's not a purpose, it's saying an effect. This is a cause and effect statement.
Let me write that down. All right, I got it. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
No, yeah.
Keep going.
So, okay. Yet the defense city shall be desolate, and the habitation forsaken, and left like a wilderness. There's a defense city that's just gonna be left like barren, wasteless. Not wasteless, but just gonna be barren and left behind.
Good.
There shall the calf feed, and there shall he lie down and consume the branches thereof. So we got this calf, this cow is gonna be there eating, chilling, eating the branches.
Now it just said
As
about
a,
everything being beaten down and desolate, right?
mhm.
But it's going to be left like a wilderness. There shall the calf feed. What is he pointing out by saying that?
As in other words, it's just gonna be left for animals to be out there to eat, and people won't be there to rebuild or do this or
There
do
you
that. It's
go. The
just
people
left
part
for
you need to
animals.
bring up. That when
The
it brings up
people
about the
won't be.
desolation and the habitation is gone, there's no people there no more.
Just animals.
Good. Now to
Then
the last one.
verse 11. I'm probably gonna say it wrong. Boughs, right?
That was right.
When the boughs thereof are withered, they shall be broken off. Now, bough, we know that's just like the branch. It's just a branch. If it withers off, it's not
Nope.
anything. I thought boughs were branches.
Not just a branch. There's different kinds of branches, aren't there?
Um, how do I explain this one? This one's the. I'm gonna have to do a Google image of this one to describe this one a little bit better.
All right. Let me give Thomas a chance.
Go ahead.
Thomas, how would you describe a bow?
A branch is bowing.
What? What?
I don't know.
What? That was, I can't even be irritated with that. That was so dumb.
Hey,
Like what the heck? That was a BS answer, but that was It's not just a branch that's growing.
Isn't bow another word for like bow or
No.
no? Oh, okay, that's where I went wrong.
So, Charles, let me give you the chance before I give the answer.
So the bow is so you have the let me try to put a visualization. I don't want to give a big ass answer. You have this big tree. What starts off is the bow before you get to the end, like the twigs and the leaves and the tiny little branches. What comes out of the tree would be the bow, right?
No. The bough is the branch that is stretched so far out it hangs over. The term is
Like
also used for non-trees in ships. Starboard bow, starboard overboard. Think of like when if you wanted to relate it to anything, I wouldn't relate it to a bow. I would relate it to taking a bow. When you think of a tree bough, think of taking a bow.
can I use an example for better visualization? When we're truck driving, you know them big branches that stick way too
Yep.
far out and no one trims it down and we hit it, that would be like a bow.
No, because a bow is like generally like it hangs over, but it's still up. A good example would be when we're truck driving and you go through the middle of a woods and you got the hanging of a tree that's covering the whole street onto another tree where they're bowing down, but they're still up.
So much so that you it kind of messes with your visualization. You can't see on the other side of it kind
Yeah.
of thing.
Yeah, it's like driving through the center of a wave when the wave crashes, but it's tree
Got
branches.
got it. Go back to the wouldn't that concept still be now that we got the bow, the visualization, the concept still like if it withers away, it's just dying away. It's gonna fall off, it's gonna break because it's dying. So
No,
let me go back to the
it's
question
not
again.
just that. When the boughs thereof are withered, they shall be broken off. Well, think about it. When it's saying if a bough is hanging over, if it's withered, what happens to it?
I was thinking if it's withered, it's dying, which means it'll soon fall off. Or it'll fall to the ground. I'm sorry. It'll fall to the ground.
There you go. Yes. Yeah, it breaks onto
Yeah,
the
so
ground.
it dies and then falls to the ground. Then next after
Well, it
that,
doesn't
it says
necessarily have to die. I mean, it could be just withered enough to where it can't support its own weight.
it still falls to the ground. And then the next thing I got, the woman come and set them on fire, for it is a people of no understanding. Oh, that's pretty self-explanatory. Instead of getting rid of it, moving it out the way, throwing it in the trash, cutting it down to use it as firewood, you just lit it on fire. We don't have a you don't have a like why would you light it on fire instead of doing something useful with it that did fail to the ground? That's how I'm taking it as it the woman lighting it on fire and being the people of no understanding. Uh-oh. Hello?
All right. Say that one more time.
Oh, I was saying with the woman comes and sets it on fire, for it is a people of no understanding. I was bringing up how you didn't break it down for firewood, you didn't throw it in the trash, you didn't move it here, you just lit it on fire. Why'd you light it on fire instead of just using it for something useful? That's what I was thinking about as far as a people of no understanding. She just
No.
comes and lights it on fire.
Nope. When the boughs thereof are withered, they shall be broken off. The women come and set them on fire, for it is a people of no understanding. Therefore, he that made them will not have mercy on them, and he that formed them will show them no favor. So when they've broken off, they're not getting any grace, anything. They're not getting none of that
God's
when they've
not
broken off.
haven't shown any mercy.
Exactly.
Oh, I didn't get to
Now,
that part yet. My
when
bad.
we look, no, I'm saying when you look at it, the women set them on fire, for it is a people of no understanding. It's not talking about getting firewood. It's talking about the branch that falls off is being treated as firewood. Does that make sense?
As in they're just okay. Okay, it's not because I brought it. No, so when I brought it up, I was thinking about it as when you say the people have no understanding. I was thinking of other ways you could have put that thing to use, but instead you lit it on fire. You're saying you're lighting it on fire for firewood rather
Exactly.
than got it. That part I got. Instead of me bringing up all the other stuff, yeah, I see where I went wrong with that too.
Exactly. All right, good. Now that we got past the first one with almost 2 hours in, now I'm just playing. All right. Does anybody have any comments or questions about the first section as we go to the second one? Now would be the time to raise your hand. All right. Then Thomas, go ahead when you're ready.
All right. I'll be reading Isaiah chapter 27, verse 12 through 28, verse 3. Just give it a couple seconds. All right. And it shall come to pass in that day that the Lord shall beat off from the channel of the river unto the stream of Egypt, and ye shall be gathered one by one, O ye children of Israel. And it shall come to pass in that day that the great trumpet shall be blown, and they shall come which were ready to perish in the land of Assyria, and the outcasts in the land of Egypt, and shall worship the Lord in the holy mount at Jerusalem. Woe to the crown of pride, to the drunkard of Ephraim, whose glorious beauty is a fading flower, which are on the head of the fat valley of them that are overcome with wine. Behold, the Lord have a mighty and strong one, which as a tempest of hail and a destroying storm, as a flood of mighty water overflowing, shall cast down to the earth with the hand. The crown of pride, the drunkard of Ephraim shall be trodden under feet. All right. Switch back over to the phone. Give me 1 second to see if it's a connection to the previous real quick. Okay. It should come real fast. So this is a continuation of hold on. 1 second. I read the wrong one. Ain't this like a yes and no type situation?
What does this say in verse 11?
I'll read it one time. When the bough thereof are withered, they shall be broken off. The woman come and set them on fire. For it is a people of no understanding. Therefore He that made them will not have mercy on them, and he that
Oh,
formed.
I'm sorry, guys. I forgot to bring something up. I just realized when I had you go back. Two things I need to bring up that you guys didn't realize were in there, but I don't expect you to. So, Thomas, we got to pause yours for a second. In the
Okay,
meantime, think about that question. But I need to
gotcha.
bring up two things in Charles' section that I forgot to bring up. Charles, in your section, we know that it's talking about Jesus. We saw the comparison. Jacob, we saw it from the New Testament. Is he slain according to the slaughter of them that are slain by him? That can also be a reference to the fact that Jesus being God when he dies, even though he dies carrying the sin, he is not a sinner.
So he was
Also,
slain, but go ahead.
oh, go ahead.
No, you go ahead. You go ahead.
Is he, because it says, is he slain according to the slaughter? That means in the same way. I forgot to bring that up earlier. Is he slain in the same way as them that he's been slaying? So is Jesus slain in the same way as those that he's been slaying? In other
No,
words, when Jesus died, he didn't die in the same way as the ones that he was slain
right.
or will slay. Does that make sense, Thomas, on your side as well?
Yes.
All right, good. That's the first part. Now you already talked about taking away his sin. We already talked about the relation to Jesus on that. But the last part about the boughs, remember about the branches. What were the boughs and the branches related to in the New Testament, Thomas?
The people, the children of Israel, the people who don't follow.
Exactly. The branches that break off, Charles and Thomas, are the children of Israel that break off and don't follow after Christ. They don't continue to follow God. And it brings
Got it.
about the setting on fire. That's a reference to them being burned. In other words, the everlasting punishment.
Got it.
All right. Hopefully that helps Thomas with yours as well. That's my fault for not bringing that up in the time. I completely lost sight of it.
Say that one
Sorry.
more time so I can write it down. Finish writing it down.
The branches breaking off are the children of Israel who fall away from following God. In the New Testament, that would be relevant to those that don't accept Christ. Keep in mind that it already referenced from the beginning about him treating the ones differently that remain faithful versus the ones that don't. In verse 7.
Okay.
All right, now go ahead with yours. Is it connected?
Yeah, it's still talking about long story short, getting rid of all the people who don't follow, gathering them up one by one. In 12 and in 13. Hello. Charles, you there?
Yeah, I'm still here.
Oh, you
Now
said hello.
your pause has been long today, brother.
My bad. I thought you said whoa, not hello. My bad. I misheard you.
You had some long pauses today, man.
All right, go ahead. What were you saying?
So let me read 12 one more time. And it shall come to pass in that day that the Lord shall beat off from the channel of the river unto the stream of Egypt, and ye shall be gathered one by one, O ye children of Israel.
Okay.
Let me read 13 too. And it shall come to pass in that day that the great trumpet shall be blown, and they shall come which were ready to perish in the land of
No,
Assyria.
no. I mean, you did read it already. The question was it connected?
Right.
That's why when I thought you said
Initially,
"whoa," what do you? What I didn't know
well,
what you were
because
going at.
I initially started with yes, I said yes, and then I went into how they're still doing pretty much getting
Oh,
rid of
did
all
you
the
say
people.
no?
What's up?
Did you say no or whoa? Because it sounded like whoa on my side.
No, when you first asked me, I said yes, and then I went to explanation about.
No, no. What? Okay, when you said whoa just a second ago, and then
I
you said
didn't
my
say
pauses
whoa.
are long. What did you say?
Charles, did you can you recall what I said?
Didn't you say no instead of it? I didn't know it was a whoa. I thought it was a no.
Okay, so that's the problem. I misheard you. It came weird through my phone.
No.
Okay, the answer, yes, you're right. It is no. Although I said that weird. How do we know it's no?
So, hold on one second. So, are we talking about the? Wait, hold on. Let me gather myself before I just throw something BS out there.
Mm-hmm.
What does it mean by beat off from the channel or the river? Like just destroying? Is that what he's saying?
Well, yeah, like beaten away.
Okay, so then with that being said, wouldn't we have the same thing kind of taking place, just a uh different scenario?
Not really. I mean, if it's beaten off from the channel of the river, think about you're beating something away. What happens to it?
You're getting rid of you, destroying it.
Yeah. And then what does it say afterwards?
And ye shall be gathered one by one, O ye children of
See?
Israel. So
Well,
it's
think
kind of
about
like
it. If you're gathering them, why specify one by one? What's the difference between gathering versus gathering one by one?
so when you're gathering, you don't care, you're just gathering everything, but one by one you're going through it and you're like sifting.
No, but good try. That wasn't a bad guess. Charles, what's the difference between gathering versus gathering one by one?
I was gonna say the same thing Thomas said it.
Okay. Think about it as a tactic of war. If you got all the soldiers coming in at once, what happens? Charles? Actually, Thomas first.
What do you mean? Like
If you got a whole army swarming you, what happens?
they're gonna overtake you? Or
Now, what if you have a cliff area where you can have them come in one by one?
you have to elaborate, brother. Trying to understand.
Okay, long story short, if it's one by one, it's single file, coming in a small amount at a time. If you're beating off the water, what's happening to the water? You said it's being moved, it's being destroyed. Right. And if you're destroying the pathway of the water, what have you just created? Thomas?
If sorry, if you destroy the pathway of the water, you just created I forgot the word for it.
Charles?
Aren't you creating the path to walk on? If you
There
destroy the
you
path
go.
of the water.
So he's beating off the water, which would create a pathway of one by one, enough space for them to get through. Does that make sense, Thomas and Charles?
Writing it down, and yes, it does make sense.
Elaborate a little bit more. So I understand he's beating out the pathway for them to
Okay,
get through,
let's
but like,
say
what's the
you
purpose behind all
are.
this?
Okay, I want you to visualize this, all right? You are standing at a park, wide open, and in front of you is 10,000 soldiers. If they're coming towards you, are they only coming at you from one place? Or can they surround you?
That can surround you for sure.
In the same token, if you got that full body of water, you can't get past it.
Okay.
But If I'm blocking a certain pathway, beating off the water enough for it to bring a certain amount, a small amount, I can make way for one by one to come through. So
I see
only
what
a
you're saying.
little bit is making it.
Kind of sound like that short and narrow, yeah.
Exactly. But not only that, you brought up something important with your first part. You brought up the why it would bring that up. How it's showing is because of the visualization. But now I'll bring back to the question because your first answer was right for this. Why would you bring up one by one?
I can't recall what I said, to be honest.
Well, at least try to think about it. What makes you think? Why would you bring up one by one? And when
Regarding to the sifting.
yeah, there you go. If you're bringing them in one by one, you can make sure only the ones that you want coming in are coming in.
So we got judging taking place. You going to hell. You going to
Exactly.
heaven.
So we got the certain saved of the children of Israel that are being there, that are being brought back and sifting through. Outside of that, there's no need to bring up the one by one because by bringing up the beating of the water, the writer could have just said, and ye shall be gathered, O ye children of Israel, right? I
Mhm.
mean, haven't we seen multiple times where it talks about the children of Israel being gathered? But also, haven't we seen many times that the unfaithful don't get gathered at the last
Right.
days? So it makes sense why it's one by one for that reason, the sifting through. Only those that are supposed to be there will be there. All right, go ahead and continue.
Hold on, I'm writing this down. All right. 13. Let me read that one more time. It shall come to pass in that day that the great trumpet shall be blown, and they shall come which were ready to perish in the land of Israel, Assyria, and the outcasts in the land of Egypt, and shall worship the Lord in the holy mount at Jerusalem. So in that day, we have the trumpet being blown, and it says, who are ready to perish. So I'm obviously I'm thinking it's speaking in relation to the I'm thinking the saved, correct?
Huh?
My bad, perish, not the saved. Okay. So
Yeah, that was wild, Thomas.
yeah, my
Like,
bad,
yeah,
my bad.
like the ones ready to die are gonna be saved. What?
I mean, if you dying for God, it's like okay, but all right, all right.
The
So let me
first
read.
problem is you're reading ready to perish a little bit wrong. And
What
it
you
shall
mean?
come to pass in that day that the great trumpet shall be blown, and they shall come which were ready to perish in the land of Assyria, and the outcast in the land of Egypt, and shall worship the Lord in the holy mountain of Jerusalem. So it's not those that were ready to perish in general, it's those that were ready to perish in Assyria. So those that are going to be saved is technically accurate, but it's more specific. It's more specific to bringing them from all the lands around Jerusalem, all the lands around Israel. Does that make
Writing
sense?
this down. So it is in regards to the people who will be ready to be saved, but from all around Jerusalem, Israel.
Exactly. It's not talking about saving them. It's talking about when that trumpet takes place, when it calls out, they're all gonna go to the land to the mountain of Jerusalem. Oh, speaking of which, this is what remember I told you guys before that there are other verses where Mount Sinai is not the only listed holy mountain. Here's one of them, where there's a mountain Jerusalem that is described as that.
Thank you for bringing it up. I'm gonna add that on my notes.
Yep.
Writing it down.
What makes a mountain holy, Charles?
I don't even have that part of my notes. I forgot.
Thomas, what makes a mountain holy?
I don't have the answer.
If God's presence is there. That's what makes the mountain holy. Mount Sinai was holy because God's presence was on Mount Sinai.
Writing it down.
Got it.
Mm-hmm. And this is important because it's the same thing with the Ark of the Covenant. Why were the Philistines able to beat the children of Israel in that moment? Charles, do you remember?
Wasn't it because the children of Israel, they thought the Ark of the Covenant had the power, not realizing God was the one that had the power, not the Ark. Putting too
Exactly.
much faith in the Ark.
Exactly. It was because God was on their side that whenever they held the ark in front of them, they were good. So when they weren't right with God, everything started falling through, and then they lost the freaking ark because they thought the power came from the ark itself, not from God. So in the same token with this mount, and honestly with this whole situation and them being brought back, they better be happy they were brought back. He did not need to do that. All right. Thomas, go ahead and continue.
Woe to the crowd of pride. Woe to the crown of pride, to the drunkards of Ephraim, whose glorious
No.
beauty,
What's the first letter in that
Ephraim.
vowel?
What's Ephraim?
No. You keep saying E free. I see an A first.
Ephraim.
Exactly. Remember? I brought up the example of a mobster. Hey, Ephraim.
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 Ephraim. Woe to the crown of pride, to the drunkards of Ephraim, whose glorious beauty is a fading flower, which are on the head of the fat belly of them that are overcome with wine. So now we got the pride. Now we got the pride and the drunkards of Ephraim. And it goes into a relation of a fading flower regarding to their beauty. So they just think they just all that in the bag of chips. This is which are on the head of the fat valley of them that are overcome with wine. So it goes into talking about fat belly. When we think of fat, we're thinking of somebody that has a lot, like
Good.
in relation to somebody who a fat person who has a lot of food to stay fat. So a refrigerator full. Fat valleys of them that are overcome with wine. So we're talking about a bunch of drunkards in this valley.
But what about them?
Fat valley of them that are overcome with wine. So wine has practically become an idol to them. They consume it all the time. They're all about their wine. They're always drunk, committing sins and things of that nature.
Ah, try again.
There's a
Is that really
fading
what it's getting
flower,
into?
which are
I think you're
it's
taking it too literally. What's the point it's making?
they are just full of themselves and deep in sin.
No. If glory is fading, are you full of yourself?
No, but okay.
If the head of the fat valleys of them are overcome with wine,
Oh, so it was like drowning themselves in sorrow type situation.
it's not saying they're drowning themselves. It's saying this is a warning to them, to all the drunkards. Don't be sitting here thinking you're all good. It don't matter what the glory is. You're overcome because of the alcohol. In other words, you've already fallen. You see what I'm saying?
Fading flower, yeah. Gotcha. Yeah, I see it now. Let me write it down real quick.
Yep.
Um, could you give me a short explanation for notes sake? I mean, mine's gonna be a freaking long and
Yeah.
not drawn.
When it says overcome with wine in 28, it shows that they're already failed or fallen, I should say. Fallen is better. They've already fallen. No beauty lasts forever. You're already fallen. The people who their crown is pride, their glory is their pride.
Gotcha. All right. So we go to two. Behold, the Lord have a mighty and strong one, which has a tempest of hail and destroying. Just sorry, I'm reading the Bible. And destroying storm as a flood of mighty water overflowing, shall cast down to the earth with the hand. So God, we see here, God pretty much punishing mighty waters overflowing
Mighty
and
water?
as a
You're
flood of
taking
mighty
it,
water. Yeah, oh,
Thomas.
see,
I think you need to
as is a
wake up a little
comparison
bit. You
of,
sound like you're falling asleep.
not even close. But let me just reread it. Behold, the Lord have a mighty, behold, the Lord have a mighty and strong one, which is a tempest of hail and a destroying storm. Okay, I see what's going on here. It was the as a flood of mighty water was a comparison to the tempest of hail,
Exactly. Well, no, not as a tempest.
mighty and strong one. which as a
A mighty
tempest.
and strong one, which as a tempest of hail and a destroying storm. You're right when you started to say about the comparison, but what's being compared?
God's wrath, strength, right?
No.
Behold, let me read it one more time slowly. Behold, the Lord have a mighty and strong one, which as a
Mm. Hold on, hold on, hold on. The Lord hath a mighty and strong one. So is God the mighty and strong one in that depiction?
said he hath like he has a mighty
Exactly.
and which as a tempest of hail and a destroying storm. Then the mighty and strong one, here's a comparison for that, which is a tempest of hell and a destroying storm. So what does it mean by the Lord has? Like what is
What?
it what is it referring to?
I'm not understanding your question. It says it right there. The Lord has a mighty and strong one. So is the Lord the mighty and strong one in that?
Oh, so just like strictly like just mighty and strong one. I bet I think he was like explaining something. Like he's about to like give a
You're
name. Oh,
overthinking
he's a
again.
mighty and a strong one. Here he is.
Did it say is or has?
I was just giving an example of how I was thinking.
Oh, well, remember. Look, Thomas, you really got to work on this. This is something to keep in mind. You really need to work on when you're doing this, just read it for what it says. Stop trying to find some hidden meaning. So, think about it too. Like I said, think about it like you're explaining something to Isaiah. The Lord has a mighty and strong one.
Hold on one second. I bad about that, guys. Go ahead, say what you're saying.
So think about it like you're explaining it to somebody. The Lord has a mighty and strong one. Okay, what am I saying when I say that? There is this one. It is mighty. It is strong, and it's God's. So it's a separate being. The Lord has a mighty and strong one, and that separate being is mighty and strong. It's very straightforward. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah, I understand what you're saying. I just thought it was gonna like speak on what he was in relation to who he's calling mighty and strong. He has a mighty and strong one. Okay, who?
Well, he
That's what
did.
I. That's all. Like, okay,
Well, he did. The Lord has a mighty and strong one, which, as a tempest and a, does what? What does it say?
destroying storm.
So which as a tempest, well, how does a tempest behave?
I don't know what a tempest is.
Oh, okay. Well, remember, okay, so let me say this little point of correction then. What are you supposed to do if there's a word you don't know? Two options. What are the two options?
Strong's, look it up,
Mm-hmm. And the
and
other
then we can
option?
go to the BDB.
No, that's if you're going through that process. That's one option. What's the other option?
Oh, just ask.
Ask. Yep. If you would have asked what a tempest was, I could have explained it instead of having to sit here waiting for you to figure it out for the last 15 minutes. You gotta ask the questions.
Gotcha.
Tomorrow, because I've given you guys through that Monday, we're now on the Friday. We're now on the Friday before. It's supposed to be a week from the Monday prior. Remember, I'm gonna give you through this Monday. You only have that much amount of time before I start cutting it short. We're already almost 2 hours in. What do you do if you don't know something, Charles?
Ask.
Exactly. What do you do if you're not sure if your guess is a BS guess or a legitimate guess, Thomas?
Just say you don't know.
No. Charles, what do you do if you're not sure if your guess is a BS guess or a legitimate guess?
Don't you want us to think about if it matches with the context that we're getting into?
And what do you have to do that?
Oh,
Reread,
yeah.
guys. You need, if you're not sure if your guess is a legitimate guess or an illegitimate guess, reread and see if it matches the context. That's what you do if you're not sure. If you don't know what a word means, you got two things. You can go through the process of figuring it out. First, look at the context, then look at the definition of the word and see how it matches the context. If you still can't get it from the Strongs, then go to another dictionary. Then the last dictionary is when you go look online. But that's the last resort. The second option is to ask, what does this word mean? So on all of these situations, they're really avoidable of time. But if you guys don't get in that habit of working through it to fit, and when you realize you can't work through it, ask the question. We're going to constantly be like that. That's why I have to start cutting it short starting on Monday. All
I
right.
think I get it now, though.
All right, go ahead.
So pretty much, it's saying that God has a tempest of hell and a destroying storm that is mighty and strong, and then it says here, as a flood of mighty water overflowing, shall cast down to the earth with the hand. So he gives that a relation to the flood and mighty water overflowing. That type of wrath being cast down onto the
There you
earth.
go. Yes. So then, with all that in mind, what is the strong one? It should be simple now.
His wrath,
Who's his?
God.
No,
Oh, sorry, sorry,
Thomas.
sorry, sorry. Oh, my bad, my bad. Jesus.
Hey, come on, don't use his name in vain.
What?
You just
That's
said
my answer.
Jesus. Oh, oh,
Come
okay.
on, man. Don't do me dirty like that.
All right. It's like you said it like it was a derogatory. You said Jesus.
I
That
ain't done
sounded
that in
like
a
a
long
sigh.
time.
It
I'm
did.
proud of
Yeah, I know.
myself.
You've been doing great. All right. So yes, Jesus. The strong one is Jesus, and it's talking about the power he's gonna be coming with at that time frame.
Yeah. See it now. Let me just write it down real quick. All right. 3. The crown of pride. The drunkard of Ephraim shall be trodden under feet. So then we got the drunkards and all the pride just being stomped on, being stepped over of Ephraim.
Ephraim, but yes. I was saying the Ephraim to give you a hint thing to keep in mind. Not literally say, hey, Ephraim, Ephraim.
I said that jokingly.
I know.
But yeah, that's pretty much it.
All right, good. Now, Charles, do you, actually, let me say it normally. Do you guys have anything you want to add or say before we continue to the final section, I should say? Now would be the time to raise your hands. All right, then, Charles, go ahead and finish us out.
I'll be reading Isaiah chapter 28, verses 4 to 8. Verse 4. And the glorious beauty which is on the head of the fat valley shall be a fading flower, and as a hasty fruit before the summer, which when he that looketh upon it seeth, while it is yet in his hand, he eat it up. In that day shall the Lord of hosts be for a crown of glory, and for how many help with this word, Matt? Diadem.
Oh, that was perfect.
Okay, and
Good
for a
job.
diadem of beauty unto the residue of his people.
I'm surprised you said that right. Good job.
Thank you. And for a spirit of judgment to him that sitteth in judgment, and for strength to them that turn the battle to the gate. But they also have erred through wine, and through strong drink are out of the way. The priest and the prophet have erred through strong drink. They are swallowed up of wine. They are out of the way through strong drink. They erred in vision. They stumble in judgment. For all tables are full of vomit and filthiness, so that there is no place clean.
Now,
So
before you get
started.
started, is judgment something you can stumble in?
Um, no, when you bring it up like that, no.
So then, is the drunkenness literal?
Let me write this down. No.
That's your hint. Exactly. Thomas, did you catch that too? Or was it not till I said it that you caught it?
After you said it,
Okay. Keep this as a tool when you're going through. If something is saying like drunkenness or anger or something, and the comparison it's using is to something that can't be drunk or something that can't be that doesn't have an emotion, that's a little hint to let you know it's a metaphor.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
And one thing to keep in mind in the future, that's why certain Christians will get that verse out of context when it talks about being sober minded, not drunk with wine, where in his excess gives the depiction properly. But when it talks about sober minded, if you don't take into account that it just said the mind and take the context into account, then you won't realize it's talking about thinking clearly, not talking about alcohol.
Got it. Now, with verse 4 is connected to the last verse.
All right.
All
Reread
right.
it one more time.
The last verse, just verse 4.
Mhm.
And the glorious beauty, which is on the head of the fat valley,
No, no, no.
shall be a.
Last verse before getting into that.
Oh, verse 8.
No, verse 3.
The crown of pride, the drunkards of Ephraim, shall be trodden under feet.
So the crown of pride is going to be trodden under. Then we get into verse 4. And the
Yeah,
glorious
verse.
beauty which is on the head of the fat valley shall be a fading flower. So does that sound like it's connected?
I thought it was a continuation of things that were going on with the colon and the and part. So you got the head,
It
the
is.
crown of pride with the drunkards
He's
of Ephraim. They're being stomped on. They're being stomped on, and then just a continuation of what's going to happen.
good. Good. Remember, every once in a while I'll do that to you. You got to be able to
Oh,
back it
okay,
up.
okay, got you. So verse 4, when it talks about, so verse 4, the continuation, the glorious beauty. Let me make sure I get this right. The glorious beauty is the one that's going to be the fading flower. And as a hasting fruit before the summer, boom, 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 boom. He's talking about the glorious beauty in that.
Exactly.
And when you're saying the glorious beauty being a fading flower, when I think of a fading flower, I think of all the petals coming off. I think about just it with I'll use this word, withering away. So this beauty, this glorious beauty, is just going to wither away. And he's compared it to a hasty fruit before summer, which somebody sees it, has it in their hand, and eats it up. That sounds like withering away. Somebody sees it and consumes it. That sounds like as an example of what's going to happen to this glorious beauty.
Exactly.
All right.
All
Then
right,
in
go
verse five,
ahead.
then in verse 5, in that day shall the Lord of hosts be for a crown of glory and for a diadem of beauty. Did I say that right again?
Yep. Yep.
Unto the residue of the people. Verse 5 is saying God is going to be God is going to be that crown of glory. He's basically going to be the crown of glory. He's going to be the beauty. He's going to be all of those things towards whatever's left, residue of his people, the remainder of his like followers, per se. If I'm saying that right.
Say that one more time.
God, God is going to be God's going to be the crown of glory. God's beauty and all of that, that's towards the remainder of his people, like the people that are following him.
Okay, you're
I re-said it, like say it in another way.
saying it another way because you can be right or wrong. You're either taking it too literal and screwing up, or you're saying it accurately and just the way you phrased it didn't give enough of a distinction.
Okay, I can re-say it. In that day shall the let me reread. In that day shall the
Mm-hmm.
Lord of hosts be for a crown of glory and for a diadem of beauty. Another way I can say it, wouldn't another way I can say it would be God being God's the king. God's the glory. God's going to be the glory. God's going to be the beauty to the remainder that's left, the ones that are following.
No, because you're taking it too literal. It's not
Okay.
beauty. It's not literally beauty. Was the other literally beauty?
Crown of glory. The other one was just crown of glory. Crown of glory.
No, there was a couple verses before it that brought up the beauty with the crown. Go back to verse 1 and reread verse 1 to 3 out loud.
Woe to the crown of pride, to the drunkards of Ephraim, whose glorious beauty is a fading flower, which are on the head
Right
of the
there.
fat.
The crown of pride and their beauty is a fading flower. Now keep going.
Which are on the head of the fat valleys of them that are overcome with wine. Behold, the Lord hath a mighty and strong one, which as a tempest of hail and a destroying storm, as a flood of mighty waters overflowing, shall cast down to the earth with the hand. The crown of pride, the drunkards of Ephraim, shall be trodden under feet. And then keep reading.
No, I just wanted you to read that. I want you to see it. So you see what it's talking about? So is that beauty literal?
No.
You see where the problem came in?
Yeah, went too literal.
Mm-hmm.
Couldn't I just leave it as God being God's glory, God being God's glory, or God's glory to the remainder, to the remainder of his people, the ones that are following and all of that?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll just leave it at that.
Yeah, God's glory is the one true glory for the people remaining.
All right, I'll leave it at that.
The problem is you added too much detail in, and that's where you slipped up. You were right. In your point of view and what you were saying, you were right. But when you started adding the literal details, that's where you screwed up in that one.
Got it. Got to work on it.
Mm-hmm.
Verse 6. And for a spirit of judgment to him that sitteth in judgment, and for strength to them that turn the battle to the gate. So when you're talking about and for a spirit of judgment to him that sitteth in judgment, he's the one that's going to be, God is the one that's going to be judging, punishment, chastising, all of that.
Exactly.
But he's also going to be the one that gives you strength when it comes to the battle. So he's the like I just brought up, chastisement, giving you the punishment, but giving those the punishment that need to be punished, but then giving strength to those that are in battle, the ones that need the strength. God's power. So we got God's glory and God's power, basically. Am I wrong for saying that?
No, you're not wrong at all.
God's glory
That's
and God's
accurate.
power. Then verse 7. But they also have erred through wine, and through strong drink are out of the way. The priests and prophets have erred through strong drink. They are swallowed up of wine. They are out of the way through strong drink. They erred in vision. That's why you brought that up earlier. Drunkenness not being literal. When you're making these errors in verse 7, aren't we talking about the priests and the prophets in their error? They're not judging and doing what they're supposed to be doing the way they're supposed to be doing it. They've fallen away.
Exactly.
You're doing it, not you, but like the priests and the prophets they're all over the place. We've already read through the rules. You had a very specific way on how you're supposed to do things in Jerusalem. There are certain ways you judge, there are certain ways you punish, there are certain ways you do things, and you are completely going out of the way.
Exactly. So it's not literal drunkenness that it's describing. It's talking about drunkenness in power, drunkenness in judgment. In other words, it's talking about not being sober minded or thinking clearly in those aspects.
Got it.
Good.
Now, when you say in verse 8, for all tables are full of vomit and filthiness, so there is no clean place, isn't that just saying because of them not judging properly, because they went completely out of the way, this isn't really it's not a clean land, it's not a right land, like a righteous land, it's dirty because we haven't been following God's will and God's way, in a sense. We've let filth run amok.
Exactly.
Okay, I want to make sure I get that out. Yeah, got it. The land is filthy because we've ran it amok and we haven't been following God's laws and rules like we're supposed to. Got it.
Spiritually filthy, and it ruins the land.
Which we've read about the priests and the prophets doing that before in previous
Exactly.
books. Yeah.
That's what we have, laddie. That's what we have.
Okay, that's all I got for this section.
Good. Thomas, do you understand how we got all those in the A to B to C?
Yep, writing everything down right now.
Do you need more time to write down?
I'm at the last part about the
All
land
right,
is
let me know when you're ready.
spiritually filthy. And that's how it ruins the land. I'm good to go.
You good to go?
Yep.
All right, Charles, are you good to go? Or you still got stuff to write down?
Good to go.
All right. Now, does anybody have any comments or questions before we pray it out? Now would be the time to raise your hands. All right. Then I'll go ahead and pray us out. Actually, you know what, Thomas, I forgot. You pray us out.
All right, if you guys can bow your heads with me. Father, thank you for another study, gathering us all here today, making sure we're here every day. We thank you for the study, although it was one of the longer studies because of things that we need to work on, but I'm grateful for it nonetheless, for these things are all things we can learn from and grow. So I give thanks to you for all these things and for Matt being a wonderful teacher. And in Jesus' mighty name I pray. Amen.
Amen. Now, I want to say one thing because it just hit me, before we go into the listening portion. Zoom irritates me that it has its issues that you had, Charles, and the other ones, even more now because I've realized how easy it is to fix problems. Speaking of our app, realizing how easy it is to fix those problems make me frustrated with Zoom because why does it make so many problems and not fix them?
Yeah.
Just wanted to say that. So, with that in mind, tonight's Bible listening. Let me get to it. Oh no, I almost said it wrong again. There's only 10 chapters of Ezra. Nehemiah chapter 1 to 13. Again, Nehemiah chapter 1 to 13. Let me know when you guys got it.
Got it.
Got it.
All right. Now, last night's listening was 2 Chronicles chapter 34 to Ezra chapter 10. We'll have Thomas go first, then Charles, and then I'll put out mine, or what sticks out to me. Go ahead when you're ready.
Okay. Oh yeah, this is a good one. So I'm gonna do Second Chronicles chapter 36, verse 15 and 16.
Oh, I thought you was gonna take mine.
The Lord God of their father sent to them by his messengers, but they mocked the messengers of God till there was no remedy. But let me go back to the Bible real quick. Using a handy dandy app. Which one are yours?
Were you asking which one was Matt?
Yeah. So I almost took his.
Oh, no, mine's at 34. Right at the beginning. Something important.
Okay, so pretty much long story short, in this section, despite like the repeated warnings and things of that nature, we got from the prophets, let me say that. We got Judah refusing to repent. But hold on, I could have sworn I had more. What is going on? This is when Babylon conquers Jerusalem and the people are taken into exile. Y'all should have repent. Pretty much got them
'Cause it's
ignoring.
too late to
Yeah.
apologize. It's too late.
them ignoring God's warnings pretty much hardened the hearts and closed the door to repentance in that given time, unfortunately for them, which led them to their situation, unfortunately.
Good. Yes. Charles, do you have anything you want to add on that?
No.
The only thing I gotta say is you caused the problem in your way. That's it. Self-imposed problems are the number one problems in all our lives. And it's not just with salvation here for the children of Israel. How many problems have you caused, Thomas? How many problems, Charles, have you caused? When you look back at the decisions that you've made, and I'm including the choice to not do something about something, because that is a choice when you think about it. If you really take the time to look at that, you can trace 99% of every single thing you have ever been through in your entire life from you either doing the wrong action or not taking the action that you need to when it's available to do so. Same as the children of Israel here. Self-impose every problem in your life at a 99%. Every problem in your life is self-caused. And if you take the time to look back and see how you did it, take the time to make better choices in the future, you'll have a different outcome. And the sad part, besides the salvation part, is this is not just true for religious people. This is true for everybody. All right. Charles, go ahead with yours.
All right. This one will always stick out to me on probably every listening. Ezra chapter 1, in the beginning, between verses 1 to 4, when the king of Persia, Cyrus, at the time, when he makes this proclamation around all the lands that he's ruling about the children of Israel going to build that house of God, which was supposed to be in Judah, and all the supplies to be given to him, like gold and silver, which is separate from a free will offering. I just thought that was cool to start off Ezra with the king of Persia saying, "Oh yeah, we're building the house of God. Children of Israel are going to go back. They're going to have all these supplies, and we're giving them stuff separate from a free will offering." It was just great to listen to, at least.
Exactly. Good.
And that's all I got.
All right. Thomas, you got something you want to add on that?
Nothing to say on that one.
Kind of in the same boat. But I have a question, Charles. Did you leave mine alone? Because I said I wanted to do mine.
This time I only wrote down Ezra chapter 1, Ezra chapter 4, and Ezra chapter 7 with like 3 different sections. I wrote down that I thought y'all
Oh.
were gonna take my Ezra's. I really that was my thought process. I wasn't even thinking about what you're gonna bring it up. Like I'm laughing now because I'm like, oh, that's what I'm in my mind. At first, I was like, "Oh, they're gonna take my Ezra. Oh, they're gonna take this Ezra. Let me find another. Oh, they're gonna take that. Let me find another one." No, that was my original thought, but now I'm laughing like, "Oh no, that was dumb." I got like 7 Ezra verses that I could have brought up. Y'all ain't going to Ezra.
Exactly.
Go ahead.
All right. Then mine is in 2 Chronicles chapter 34 in verse 14. I could go further, but 14 gets the main point of why it sticks out for me. And when they brought out the money that was brought into the house of the Lord, Hilkiah the priest found a book of the law of the Lord given by Moses. You mean to tell me that they strayed so far away all this time, years upon years, and the entire time, all they had to do was look in the temple, and they would have seen the book of the law available to them. It doesn't just stand out to me because of that tells you how little effort into following God they ever put. It also reminds me of us. And I'm not just meaning that as people today, I mean that as us individually, as three. I'm so grateful that God has given me salvation. I'm so grateful. And let me say this, I am so grateful that God gave me a determination to go through everything I've been through and to come out with the realization that there has to be a reason behind it, that I was a logical person. Because if I didn't have this perseverance, we wouldn't be here. And as far as I know, there would be no church in the entire world that follows the Bible. All of them just make up however they want to live based on what they currently believe rather than what God has already shown. That's what to me is like it makes me think of on both sides. All right. Thomas, do you got anything you want to add on that?
Yeah, it's pretty hilarious how all that time it was there and they didn't bother to look, which is hilarious. But yeah, I wonder what was the initial guy's thought who found it. Like, hey, what is this? It's been here the whole time. That's crazy.
Exactly. All right. Then, with all that being said, oh wait, no, Charles, do you have anything you want to add on that? Oh, it's just left you out.
Just same point with Thomas, but like today's day and age. I mean, what would I go to the Bible had you not taught me the truth in the Bible? It's always been there. I can't say it wasn't. I make this joke all the
Exactly.
time. The Bible is in almost every hotel or motel you book. Find one of the drawers. It's in there. Hidden. You don't know which drawer? Open up all them drawers. There's a Bible in it. But yeah, that's all I got to say.
All right. Cool. So then that's it. I'll call you guys in a second. I want to go through some of the app stuff. Actually, Charles,
Yeah,
Thomas, you sound like you're out of it. Are you up for this?
Let's start watching the fights. To be honest with you.
All right. Well, then I'll
all
go
right.
ahead and close us out. And Charles, I'll call you in a second.
I got you.
Have a good night, y'all.